Greeting YouTube. Today is a bit more about the debacle that is currently undergoing in Congress. Acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney was warned by a senior advisor last summer that we should expect Congress to become unhinged if the White House withheld security aid to Ukraine. In a June 27 email, Mulvaney wrote Robert Blair, "Did we ever find out about the money for Ukraine and whether we could hold it back?" Blair replied that it was possible, but to expect Congress to become unhinged if the White House tried to rescind spending passed by the House and Senate. Blair also warned that withholding the aid could add to the narrative that Twitler was pro-Russia. Mulvaney's email came a week after Twitler initially asked about holding back the Ukraine assistance, and around the same time, Rudy Giuliani was pushing Ukraine to conduct internal investigations into Joe Biden and his son. Now, before I go any further and people start talking about nepotism in the Biden family, cast that critical eye of yours to the family of the president and how many of them are currently on some kind of a payroll receiving tax dollars, American tax dollars, for fucking with the United States of America. So if you think that there's some kind of back channel shenanigans going on in the Biden family, and I don't have a dog in that fight, I don't give a shit, turn your eye to Twitler's family. In fact, the only one in the entire family that probably isn't morally bankrupt is the youngest one. And he hasn't yet been corrupted and joined into the family business of being shitty human beings. Because that seems to be the entire Twitler brand. Even the people he brings into his family via marriage, for example, his current wife, is a shitty human being. So don't pick on Biden for that. Or if you're gonna, pick on Twitler's family just as much. Or more. Because there's more of them. Okay? Now, I don't want Biden as the candidate, by the way. Let's make that very clear. I want AOC. I can't have AOC, so I want Bernie Sanders. But here we have an example of people talking about preparing these phone calls ahead of time and saying, here's your funding. Would you like your funding? Would you like your funding? Because if you would, do us a favor. Yeah, that's quid pro quo. Maybe even extortion, because without that funding, Ukraine is fucked. They are at severe risk from more attacks by Russia. And they need that funding. They need our support. They need UN support in the face of Russia. Politically, Russia and China are the two biggest threats in the world today. And Twitler is sucking the dick of both of them. Don't give me that crap about the trade wars. He still wants China's money. He still wants China's influence. He's currently petitioning China to look into his political enemies. What he does publicly and what he does privately have nothing to do with each other. And if we were to find out about videotape or video of Putin peeing on him in a hotel room, it wouldn't surprise me. But here we go. We've got people talking about the fact that on June 27, before the phone calls were ever made, that, yeah, we should commit extortion against Ukraine so that a political enemy of his can be investigated. Not to mention pushing a narrative that Ukraine was behind the hacking in 2016, which is a conspiracy theory not based in reality in any way, shape, or form, as the FBI has said repeatedly. But that doesn't stop Twitler from repeating lies again and again and again, adhering to the Rove philosophy. If you say a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. So, yeah. I'll put a link to the New York Times article here. Go give it a gander, particularly any of you out there who currently support Twitler. Oh, and in closing, anyone who does, you're a white nationalist.